All right, we are back to Kings of War. A bit of a rematch here. We have some Abyssal Dwarves that I defeated last time. We're going up against each other again. 2,300 point battle report. So yeah, bringing my Kings of Men out. So this is just the standard control scenario. I am in my army going back to my Beast Cav. I've been trying the chariots out, but I think I'm going to try the Beast Cav out and give a comparison. I'm also helping my friend to prepare for Samurai Showdown. So we are going to be running some samurai characters. Yeah, so just keep that in mind. All right, so for my army, very similar, right? Pikes with the Dragon Shard Shield, Foot Guard with the Hammer of Measured Force, my 2 Militia Mob Regiments, Fanatics with the Blood of the Old King, Knights with Boots. Now I'm running some Beast Cav, so I've dropped the Chariots and I'm going for Beast Cav. I've upgraded them with the Thunderous Charge and Vicious, and I've put the Indomitable Will on them. So it comes out to about the same price as my Chariots. 2 Giants, both with Cleaver. Standard Bearer with the Loot. 3 mounted heroes, and I've got the captain herself unmounted. All right, for my opponent, he has a tweaked list, so he's trying some different things out as well. So he is running his Black Souls with the Fiery Bulwark. He's got the Hammer of Measured Force on them and Throwing Mastiff. So real good unit. 235 is just a really good points for this unit. 3 units of Iron Guard, all with Throwing Mastiff. He's got 1 with the Brew of Strength, 2 Gargoyle Regiments. So he's trying to do some chaff now. He's got 1 Hellfang, so he usually likes to do 2. So he's going back to 1 Hellfang. He's got the Overmaster upgrade, so that's the +2 Wild Charge. With him, he's got an Ironcaster. He's running Heal 5, Shroud of a Saint, and he's also paid an extra 30 points for Scorched Earth. So interesting pick, this Scorched Earth. It's pretty pricey. We'll see how it does. He's got his 2 Hexcasters, Weakness and Hex, 1 with the Periscope. He's got an Infernox. So he's running 2 Infernoxes now. He's running 1 Infernox without the formation, and he's given him Blessing of the Gods, so he just hits a little harder. And then he's got the formation with his 2 Immortal Guard, both the Throwing Mastiffs. They've got the Crush 1 on them. And then he's got his Infernox that give his Aura Elite melee, and he's put the Sacred Horn. This is just a really solid unit for 190 points. Aura Elite Infantry, just really good with that. It's a 9-inch bubble too, so really solid. All right, so our setup here. So I just want to take pictures of his army. So he's got his 2 Infernal Guard regiments that have these are the Crush 1. They've got the large hammers. The ones with the shields are the ones with the Def 5. His 10-man unit. I like the minor theme that he's going with. So he's got, this is his 10-man unit of Black Souls. Here's his Hellfang, 2 regiments of Gargoyles. He's got his 2 Infernoxes. I'll just go in here and check out a little more. So yeah, that's just his first Infernox. Really nicely painted army. So I like the theme he's going for. This is his 2nd Infernox. Love the double axe. So that's just his Hellfang. Yeah, again, just really nice. This is his Ironcaster. And the lady above with the hammer, that's his Samurai. These are his 2 Hexcasters, basically the miners with the lanterns. All right. So let's do our setup here. So we're playing Control. Control is always a good testing scenario. So in this one, he's basically set up towards the center. He's set up real tight here. And then he's got this house here, which is kind of in the way. And you'll notice here that he's actually going pretty heavy on this side. And the reason is because I actually set my knights here. So whenever we were setting up during deployment, he put these Black Souls down, and basically immediately in response, I just put my knights down. And that just really put him in a really bad spot, right? He at that point needed to commit more units to kill those knights. You know, even if he just committed these harpies, it's just not enough. So he actually committed his Hellfang and an Infernox over this side because he saw that I had my knights. But I've got Captain. So basically the knights that here get transported to the far left. And that's what you really need to do with Captain. Captain isn't trying to fool your opponent. you use Captain to basically to put your opponent in a lose-lose situation. If he didn't commit these units, I could have just left my cavalry there and blew up his Black Souls and then basically come around his right flank. So once he did commit those units over there, I then basically teleported my knights to the other side of the board. But I do still have something on this flank. They're all basically centered around this object, so I can basically go either way, my fanatics and my 2 giants with a hero as well. So still doing very good. Yeah, here's my knights, and as you can kind of see here, it's just an empty field, right? He basically has just given an entire flank to my knights free reign. So basically very good setup for my knights. In the center, I'm running my pikes. You can see he's pretty heavy here. That's a great place for my pikes, just to basically get in these woods and just be that absolute anvil that is not going to go. And I've got my beast cab going to come up right the center here. Here's my 2 more mounted heroes. This lady here, the assassin sort of character, that is my samurai. She has regen. Here's my standard bearer, and here's the captain, kind of hiding behind the wall. He's got some long-range firepower. So top of turn 1, I do get turn 1. This side basically stays very still. I don't want him to get some free pot shots on my giants with his Hellfang. So these guys actually stay pretty still. I move this hero up. So I basically have my heroes really here ready to, if they need to, just go and basically plug up his line. Towards this here, yeah, I just moved my cavalry up. Remember, he gave me this entire flank, and I think it was smart of him. You know, he has his army really requires him to play very compact, but that did allow me to basically, I had an entire side of the board that I could just move my knights up and just basically threaten multiple of his units. I also push one of my militia mobs up. Basically, they're going to try to take one of these 2 sides. So I'm just having my militia mob move up, pushed up the rest of my army, and I have this other militia mob that's going to be probably staying around here to either help in the center or grab this side. Yeah. The other thing I do is, yeah, this is just showing here. I pushed up a little bit here, but I mainly just have my mounted heroes here ready just to plug up his line here. So, yeah. That's just another, and as you can kind of see here, I have multiple units that I can hit. These knights are just free to just hit whatever they want on this side here. All right, bottom of 1. So he does try his best. He did have some chaff over here, flying chaff that he moved over. He blocked this unit, but as we're going to see, he really couldn't do much, because if he tried to block both units, I could have just come around and hit this unit. So he ended up just trying to block this one, but he did leave the inside one open, hoping that I kill this unit and then he can maybe gang me towards the inside. So, yeah, and that's just showing here that my knights, they absolutely can get here. So he's blocking this unit, but I can actually go here and hit this unit as well. So he moves up his infantry. He actually turns his Hellfang towards the other side, right? He kind of sees, once my knights aren't there, he decides to just turn the Hellfang and face the other direction. So that's just him. The Hellfang can shoot. He's going to shoot at Captain this turn. So on his shooting phase, he releases the dogs, and I think he throws a Hex Caster at me to do a wound, so the knights get 4 wounds on them. He has a lot. I've played this army a lot, and this army has a lot of firepower, and also it has a lot of those long-range firepower. Those Hex Casters with their hexes and weaknesses can just really stack wounds on people, so... he also does a Hex Caster on one of my giants. Gets a hex on them, but he does a wound to my giant. All right, top of turn 2. So here it gets interesting. I basically cut towards the inside, so I don't worry about these harpies. I just cut towards the inside, and I hit one of his double hand weapon units. So these guys are, I popped the boots. These guys are weakened, these knights, but that's still going to be hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s, and I could even wound on 2s if I get the Bane chant off, which I don't. The foot guard move up. They mainly are just moving, and they clear the forest, so if they want to charge, they're not going to be hindered. So I made a point to move the foot guard up and then clear. This is a bad angle, but basically the foot guard clear the forest. The other thing is I also have my hero hit those harpies as well. And this is where I just plug up his entire line, right? I send 2 of these heroes right here, and I send the my samurai. I send them into this unit. So my samurai doesn't have the same hand-to-hand abilities that his samurai does, but my samurai has regeneration. So he's my samurai is a lot more defensive. So I just put this samurai right into one of these Dark Souls, and as you can see, I'm basically plugging up his entire line here with my heroes and my samurai. And I bring up my captain right behind here to give that 6-inch inspiring, that's not just inspiring, but a rally bubble, right? So these 2 heroes are 11-13 with 5 depth. That's actually surprisingly hard to kill. And yeah, I just move up so one thing I do is I move up the fanatics to be in charge range, move up both giants here, and the giant now can go either direction. And then I also move my Beast Cav up to get ready to hit one of these units as well. All right, so yeah, that's just me showing here. I'm basically in charge range of his unit with my fanatics, and my giant can both hit this unit. So yeah. Yeah, and I roll pretty good. I don't get the Bane chant off, but it's not enough. Basically, the knights blow that unit up, and then they basically turn so that these 2 units can't face them. And as you can see, all these units have basically been tagged by my heroes here. I do get the wounds off on all of them, so I get 1 to 2 wounds off on every one of these units, and that's all I really need. All I need these units is basically to be stuck in place. That keeps his health in place. He can bring his Infernox up, and he has his Ironcaster, but I've really just plugged up his entire line here. My hero actually does, I think it's they do 2 wounds on these harpies, and they waver them. That's actually a best case scenario for me, right? Them being wavered means this unit is actually just stuck behind them. He does have his samurai right there. Bottom of 2. So he sends his chaff harpies into my fanatics, hoping to kind of get them. But I actually have a giant, and we already checked it. That giant can also hit them as well. So he's just going to stall 1 turn with these harpies. He gets counter charges here. He gets some regens off. I think he gets a couple. I think they all end up just having 1 wound on them. Having regen on those guys is so great. His samurai comes over here. His samurai has duelist and hits my hero. I do have an inspiring right here from Captain, but you know it's not looking good. He has his Hellfang. His Hellfang shoots into my knights. I think he doesn't roll great, and he does like a wound. He's got his weakness that he gets off on the giant, but he doesn't do any wounds on him. Yeah, actually, I'm sorry. He does get 1 wound on this giant. So 2 wounds from basically, he gets the weakness off this time though. The Hellfang shoots doesn't roll great. They are in cover and does one more wound on the knights. I think he attempts to get, he attempts to get a weakness on the knights, but he doesn't wound them. But they are weak, so. Okay, it's just showing another picture there. Here, this is just kind of another angle. You can kind of see, oh, he did actually pivot slightly. So he moved them over a little bit, and he did get a little pivoting, but basically these guys are stuck in place. All right, he goes over, and with Duelist, he actually rolls pretty bad this game. He actually only does 6 wounds, and then he rolls a 4. So that is a waiver on this guy. So he didn't roll great on the wounds, and then he rolled a 4 for nerve. So actually, this hero sticks. So that's pretty nice. Does 5 wounds. So he rolls pretty good here. Does 5 wounds on her, but she sticks, and she has regen. He does 3 wounds on here and 4 wounds on this one. He wavers both of these heroes, but that's fine. They've really done their job. And if I really need to, I've got the captain to actually go and plug up another place if I need to. So they did their job. Yeah, that's just showing them being wavered. And yeah, I think he does his attack. He does 3 wounds into fanatics, but they're fearless, so that's fine. So top of 3. So top of 3, I actually send my foot guard because he didn't kill this guy. He couldn't back off, so I actually send my foot guard directly into his samurai. He's only 14-16, and I have hammer on him, so I have a decent chance on actually just killing this guy if I roll pretty good. The other thing I do is I move up my militia mob on this hill, so if I really need to, I can come down the hill and get a little thunderous in there. I just basically move the pikes up and just get ready. The standard bearer, so you can see the knights. It's a front charge here, so they take that front charge, and then the standard bearer attempts to bane chant them, but doesn't get the bane chant off. So it's just how it is. So they are actually now one of the things that happened that we forgot to he attempted to do scorched earth on these knights, and he rolled like a 1, 2, and a 3. So that was a pretty bad roll for him. He really needed to get Scorched Earth off on these knights because they are getting a Thunderous 1. And he didn't weakness. That's right, he didn't weakness them, so they are going to be wounding on 5s. No, he did get the weakness off. He got the weakness off, but they're Thunderous 1, so they are going to be wounding on 5s. But that's still, it's 4s and 5s, but that still is 32 attacks as well. So pretty good. These guys back off, and I send the Beast Cav in. So this is just the Beast Cav going in. And then I've got my... you can kind of see here, here's my... to kind of help these guys out, I actually go ahead and send in my Samurai into this unit. The Samurai regens one of those wounds. So here's the wounds. This is the Samurai's wound, so she gets 1 back. And then my Beast Cav go into this unit. So... I also just move up my militia mob regiment. I want to be able to have these guys available to go wherever I need to go. Combo charge these guys, and the giant goes into these guys. Yeah, I roll pretty good, and also this samurai's putting on an extra 4 wounds, and then the cavalry roll pretty good, and then I roll some pretty good nerves, so I actually killed the second unit. So right now, this is just gravy for me. I mean, these knights have already taken out 2 units. They've still got a healthy number of wounds on them, and really, at this point, any wounds I get is just gravy on those knights. They're doing great. Roll kind of bad on the samurai, and I think I only do like 6 or 7 wounds, and the samurai is fine. Oh yeah, that's just me pivoting, and that's the samurai kind of turning around as well. The Beast Cav go in here. I think they do like 5 or 6 wounds, but they're fine. And then the captain actually comes in here too. I don't want to get comboed here, so the captain comes over here and hits this unit to stop them. The giant does, I think, 4 or 5 wounds. He gets like a D3. I think he only gets a 1 on the Iron Resolve. So I did a few wounds on him. And yeah, and they blow up that unit. So the fanatics actually just sidestep, and the giant, he goes up 1 inch, and that gets him actually in range to do some charging. Yeah, that's just showing that again. Right, bottom of 3. So he sends his harpies into my militia mob regiment. He sends his Hellfang and his Infernox into my knights. That Infernox, though, doesn't have Strider or anything, so he's actually hindered, so he loses his Thunderous, which is pretty good for me. He countercharges into my Beast Cav. He actually, countercharges into Beast Cav, and then he goes with his guys into my Foot Guard. I feel pretty good about this. Those Foot Guard are Def 5, 21, 23. They're pretty solid, so I'm not too worried about that. He actually gets his Infernox. His Infernox has Nimble, so he is able to Nimble and get into my giant here. So that's just a little bit of an overview on the battlefield, and we'll start rolling it. You can kind of just see here some of the fight going on here. So he does 3 wounds into my militia mob and he wavers them. Does 4 wounds into the foot guard, but they're fine. You know, between these 2 units, does 4 wounds. It's actually a pretty bad roll. He doesn't roll great this game, so only does 4 wounds on them, and they're fine. He does 13 wounds on the knights. It's 14 because the Infernox has brutal, but they're fine. They stick. He actually kills the captain. So he roll. It's kind of funny. He actually rolls really good, and he kills the captain. I think he gets like 10 wounds off on her from 12 attacks. So he rolls crazy good, and he kills her. But he only rolls a 1 for the overrun, and he doesn't overrun into them. So it's actually kind of funny. Like I said, he had really good rolls, and then he had the bad rolls kind of counteracted it. Does 11 wounds on the giant, which is pretty respectable. He does roll pretty good this round. So he puts a lot of wounds into my giant. Puts 8 wounds into this giant. Again, he's rolling pretty good. And yeah, that's just the overview. So he did have some good rolls that turn, but I was generally able to tank it. So yeah, that's just another overview. You can see a lot of my army is starting to really absorb some wounds. He does 3 wounds into the beast cav, but they're fine. Oh, that captain is not there. The captain is dead. We just didn't move her. Top of 4. So I sent my hero into the flank of these harpies. I think they have like 2 wounds. They regenerated. I think they have 1 wound. They regenerated 1 of them. I countercharged the samurai, and then I also put my hero into the samurai. The samurai is already wounded, so I do feel pretty comfortable killing this samurai and maybe even overrunning. He did heal the samurai from his Ironcaster, but I think the samurai's had like 1 or 2 wounds on him still. I countercharged with the cavalry into the Infernox. I attempt to Bane Chant the cavalry, but I don't get it. And the pikes just move forward. They're just kind of prepared. Eventually, one of these, my knights probably aren't going to survive another turn, so I have my pikes here. They are also firmly on his side, so I'm really now trying to just get his center. I combo charge that unit, and I countercharge the Infernox. Here, I actually get another 2 wounds, and I killed him. He isn't in inspiring range. No, he is in inspiring range because of the samurai's inspiring, but I beat him both times. So the harpies are gone. I actually go into the samurai. I kill the samurai, and then I overrun into them, and I do like 9. Actually, I roll pretty good. I do like 9 wounds on this guy, but I don't kill them. And they have regen, but still, I finally kill his samurai, and then I do some wounds into this unit as well. That's just showing them it's about 9. Yeah, it's 9 wounds on the tick. My giant rolls pretty good, and he one-shots that Infernox, so that's pretty good. And then we do kill, so I do pop the blood on the fanatics. They only had 3 wounds on them, and I was thinking, well, the blood, I'm not going to get that many ones. But I did need them dead. Well, I got 13 wounds from Blood of the Old King on those guys. So that's actually really sucky in that these guys are basically toast. I don't regret it, though. Like I said, I rolled really bad. And if I didn't roll that good, if those guys stuck, that would have just basically hurt my entire flank. So even though I got 16 ones, I thought it was worth it to be able to clear out this entire flank. But yeah, they're probably dead. Bottom of 4. So he gets a regen. Again, I'm going to say here, my opponent rolled. He didn't roll horribly bad, but he generally rolled worse than me. But he did have a couple of rolls which were crazy. So he has 9 wounds, and he gets 8 regens out of 9. I thought this was funny here. So these guys are basically at 1 now, so it's pretty funny. He shoots, he does a couple of wounds into my fanatics. They're basically on double 1s. He shoots into my hero. He fireballs my hero, trying to take him out. Does 2 wounds, so he's on double ones. Yeah, just that going on here. He shoots into. Oh yeah, he rolls his nerve and kills the fanatics. And then he also is able to charge my beast calf, so now he's going in with both units. He actually does it's actually 12 wounds. This is wrong. He actually did 12 wounds on these guys, and he rolled I forgot what he rolled, but basically he wavered them. But they have indomitable will, so the waver is actually fine for me. Yeah, 12 wounds. Yeah, we were mistaken there. They do kill the cap. They do kill the knights. So the Infernox finishes off the knights. Okay. And yeah, this was another really funny one here. So that same unit that rolled all those regions, he hit 7 times out of his 12 attacks, and then he rolled 6 out of 7 5s to wound my foot guard. So the foot guard are now on 10. It's just really funny. This one unit rolled crazy good this round, but so my foot guard are actually a lot more hurt than I expected them to be. They got 10 wounds on them now. That's just an overview of the field. You can see, though, I'm still doing pretty good. A lot of my units are pretty wounded, but now these guys are on back to 1 wound. But I am thinking about if I need to. But I also have a fresh unit of pikes here, and the key thing is that I'm kind of have my backfield is pretty much guaranteed. I've got these 2 giants that can maybe do something, and the key thing is I've got these pikes right here in his center. If I can kill a few more of his units, I can take his center. Top of 5. All right, I just countercharged back in. I sent my hero into his Ironcaster to try and just do a wound to stop him from charging me. I also turn these militia mob like 180 degrees. So if they need to, they can either go here or go here, right? So the Beast Cav, again, they have their Indomitable Will, and I do Bane Chant, and I finally get that Bane Chant off. The first time this game I got that Bane Chant off. The Pikes also go into the Infernox. No, they go into the Hellfang. I don't want the Hellfang to shoot at me, so I do go into the Hellfang. The Pikes are mainly just there just to chaff up this unit. They're in cover, so they're doing pretty good there. Yeah, I just also move my giant to try and force the issue. If he doesn't kill me, I'm going to go and charge the X-Caster. So I rolled pretty good. This was a really big turn in that it kind of balanced out. He did get 9 regens, but my foot guard also rolled really good. They had been rolling bad all this game. They roll really good. I think it was like 13 wounds, and I blow them up. So that's really awesome just to kill that unit. I do a wound on his Hexcaster, stop him from casting. I do like 2 wounds on the Hellfang, but the main important thing is the Hellfang can't shoot. Yeah, I send my Samurai and my Beast Cav go into this unit, and they kill them. So that's a really awesome thing. I then turn to face the Beast Cav are dead, I know, but I was able to again kill one of these units here. I'm really clearing off. Remember, in his center now, he's got a lot less unit strength because this is only 3. And yeah, that's just another point on the board. I do move up this giant towards the center. He's kind of straddling the fence, whether he can go this way or this way, but I do want to get this extra unit strength in range if I need to. Bottom of 5. So he sends his Infernox into my foot guard. Now the Infernox is hindered, so I'm not expecting him to do too much. He runs away his Hexcaster. Yeah, he goes into my Beast Cav and countercharges my Pikes. Oh, actually he doesn't. I forgot about that. He doesn't charge these Beast Cav. He actually throws his dog into my Giant hoping to just waver that giant. He does shoot his Hexcaster into this giant. He does 1 wound on him. So he does, he actually rolls pretty bad here, and he only gets like 1 more wound on the giant, and the giant sticks. So, at this point, I can understand where he's coming from. He's really trying his best to try and win the game. That's what he does. He actually casts weakness on the Beast Cav, but he actually doesn't even wound the Beast Cav. So it's just, he's taking chances. He's behind, and his just rolls aren't panning out. Does 2 wounds on the foot guard, but they're fine. Does 6 wounds on the pikes, but they're fine. Top of 6. So again, because he wasn't able to effectively waver or kill those Beast Cab, he tried to weakness them, and he just doesn't get it. So the Beast Cab do go into this unit. And the giant right here gets a flank into his Hellfang. So that's a nice juicy flank. Oh, I forgot to mention last round, he does an extra wound on this giant, and he wavers this giant. So this giant is wavered. I countercharge into the Infernox. I think this Hellfang is very dead. I move up my my Militia Mob in case I need to have some extra unit strength to take his center. Yeah, I mean, obvious giant hitting, that's going to be, 2d6 plus 8 times 2, crush 4 hits, so that Hellfang is very dead. I actually pivot the giant to possibly go into the rear of the Infernox, and then these guys are just facing here. But actually, I don't need to, because these guys roll pretty good again, and they one-shot the Infernox. So these guys, they rolled bad early, but now they are heating up. So I think I roll like 10 wounds, and I one-shot that Infernox. The hero also goes and does another wound onto the Ironcaster, so he can't cast anymore. And I turn my foot guard to face the Ironcaster as well. Bottom of 6. So now he's pretty much lost the game. He's just trying to do what he can. By the way, I did do some wounds here, but I don't. That's them and them. So he goes in. He attacks them. He does a weakness on the Beast Cap, and then he does a weakness here, and he wavers this giant again. He actually just, now he's just kind of having fun. He sends his Ironcaster into my foot guard, just more for fun. He does kill my Beast Cav, and then they face towards the backwards of the giant. He doesn't wound my foot guard, so, there you go. Top of 7. So we do get a turn 7. In my 7, I send my pikes and the samurai. They go into this remaining squad. I do get the Bane Chant off on the pikes. Oh, that's just showing another picture of it. The giant just moves away. They actually roll pretty good, and I kill this unit here. And I kill the Ironcaster as well. So we just finished off the game. He was a good sport just to finish off turn 7. He knew he'd lost. That's just showing here. I basically have his center, I have my side, and I have both of the left sides because I have the Militia Mob. That's the other Militia Mob here on the corner that is also taking that side. All right, bottom of 7. The only thing get any wounds on the giant. So the giant sticks, and it's pretty much a blowout. That's just showing you here. He doesn't wound the giant, so the giant's fine. Quite a huge victory for the Kingdoms of Man. I did roll better than him that game. He didn't roll great. He had a couple of good rolls, but for the most part, he didn't roll great. I think the army did very well. This is my first army with absolutely no shooting. And I think it did well. The Beast Cab, I think, did great. I honestly was just giving the Chariots an honest go. But I think that the Beast Cab are just probably going to stay in there with that Indomitable Will. I think they're just better. I just go back to this. If any Kingdoms of Men players, I would tell you about the Captain. The Captain isn't about trying to fool your opponent. The Captain is about putting your opponent in a lose-lose situation. So you're not trying to fool him. You're putting a unit like a cavalry in one spot, forcing him to commit to that area, and then moving those cavalry or another key unit out of the way. The cavalry shock strategy, that's a really good strategy for me. I don't like to play very passive with my cavalry. My cavalry are so big, they clog up my army. So I like my cavalry just to get in there real fast, just hit something, blow something up. They'll generally survive the backswing, and with a Bane Chant, they can generally actually kill 2 units before they die. So the cavalry worked out great. I just have plenty of chaff that once I send this cavalry in, I can chaff up his line, move up my line to get in range as well. Now, I would say that no shooting means that chaff can be an issue for me, but I do have the heroes there to stop chaff. So, yeah, all in all, pretty good game. All right, thanks for watching. You can always play against me on Universal Battles too. I'm always interested in feedback. Like, subscribe, comment, and if you're in Austin, always join the Austin Kings of War. So, thanks everyone.